I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll review some of the housekeeping items just so everybody's up to speed.
Can you put your mic up a little closer?
Yep, that's exactly the
Oh,
first
great.
thing. I think you do that on purpose with me.
No, I don't.
When speaking, please move close to your microphone to ensure you are heard clearly for the YouTube streaming. And I request that citizens who speak to adjust the height and stand close to their microphone. There will be 2 opportunities for citizen comments. I will be requesting individuals stay within the 4 minutes in both citizen comment sections and would appreciate everyone keeping their points concise. I request that comments are made respectfully to the board. We are here to discuss Township's business. Citizen comments should pertain to specific issues, concerns, or policies they would like to bring to the board's attention. Documents on the website are aligned to the items on the agenda. These are draft documents to provide background information only. Just to be clear, motions were drafted to help the board more quickly get to the final wording and vote on the respective motions. The final motion may look different to reflect the actual action taken by the board. With that, we have 2 sets of minutes to approve. First set, and there's an adjustment on your agenda. It should be March 19th of 2024 and not 2022. I fat fingered that one. And the other one will be the special board meeting of March 26, 2024, which was the special board meeting to approve the budget items and to approve our proposal to eliminate the annual meeting of the electors. So are there any changes to the March 19th, 2024 regular board meeting? Of course, Sharon. Good.
I just have a question on C, special agenda, number 2 for you. I'm not sure what that means. 2 were received, both were denied. I don't know what denied is.
That means that what they were asking for was not something that we could provide for them, so they were denied on both of those 2 requests.
Okay.
Did they do any follow-up or did they
Nope.
accept it?
No,
It's
Okay.
just, when I look at future minutes, it's like they were denied. I don't know.
there are 3 things that can happen with a FOIA. It can be granted, it can be denied, or it can be granted in partial. So
Okay.
if you're thinking in terms of FOIA,
Maybe just add the word both requests were denied,
sure.
make it a little clearer.
It just kind of, I wasn't sure how that was.
Mhm.
That's the only thing I had on that.
All right. Alan,
I think it's
Okay.
good.
Jason, I don't want to forget you. All right. So I will make the motion to approve the March 19th, 2024 regular board meeting minutes. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. It is moved and seconded to approve the regular board meeting of March 19th,
We changed.
2024 with changes. Any further discussion regarding the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Second item were the minutes related to the special board meeting, March 26, 2024. The key item there was the motion and action to be taken to abolish the annual meeting of the electors. Any comments or changes to those minutes?
I have none.
All right, hearing none, I'll make the motion to approve the March 26, 2024 special meeting minutes. Is there a second, please?
I can second them.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the special board meeting of March 26, 2024. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item is Kathy. It's yours with
Yes, sir.
correspondence.
I have one correspondence to share. This is an ongoing email conversation between the supervisor and, let's see, I know it's a husband and a wife, Kelly Berry and Tim, thank you. And Mr. Cook had recommended that they make an email and send it to the board so that we could read that into the record. And so that's what they've done. They're asking, their original email to Bob said, just wondering if we have an ordinance in Torch Lake Township about the use of jack brake / engine brake. If not, how might we go about seeing if there's any interest in this issue? We notice it more and more on 31 near the market and heading towards the township building. I do know that some towns have signs pertaining to this. So that was signed by Kelly. And then lastly, we are year-round residents near East Port Market and have noticed the use of jake brake, engine brake from big semi-box trucks on US 31 in Torch Lake Township. The use of engine brake, jake brake is most often utilized when a quick deceleration is needed or during prolonged downhill drives. This area is flat and a rapid deceleration would not be needed, hence a jake brake is not needed. The noise caused by this braking is extremely loud and at times can be heard for miles. Can we follow suit with other surrounding areas and get an ordinance against this nuisance? That one was signed by Kelly and Tim Berry, dated April 12th. So they did in fact send one to the board to be shared, so.
And we've got that on board discussion, so.
Right, correct.
Anything else?
Yes. An announcement that I would like to make, the clerk would like to make in terms of elections. Torch Lake Township we've signed a consolidation agreement with Banks Township. So for here on in, until somebody decides they don't want to do it anymore, Torch Lake Township and Banks Township will be having our election place, our site in one place, and it will be in Banks Township, which is in Ellsworth. Our voters would have the option to go to Ellsworth to vote. And if they aren't happy with that idea, they can always get an absentee ballot ahead of time. But this all came about because of the February election with the 9 early days of voting and everybody kind of deciding that that was a fiasco, a very expensive fiasco. So the options that we had is that we could consolidate either with the county or with a township. And so I credit Donna Harris, who is the Banks Township clerk, who started the wheel rolling for Torch Lake Township, and we have signed an agreement. So now if after we try this a couple times and we decide we don't like it or our voters don't like it, we can back out. It does not need board approval. But it is something, of course, that the board should be aware of, and hopefully that they would agree with this agreement, if you will.
Just
Will
for
this
the
be
nine-
true for the August primary as well as the November election?
It'll be for every election from here on in.
Just,
Let me rewind,
Yeah.
every federal and state election.
Will
So
the 9 days, the 9 days will be there and the actual election itself will be here? The
Correct.
day of the election?
correct,
Okay.
correct. Elections are here for the day of the election. The 9-day early voting would be a consolidation with Banks Township.
Okay.
and it's only for federal and state elections. So the May election coming up, which is in essence, a school election, we won't have 9-day early voting for that. There will only be the 1 day to vote on May 7th here in our building.
Local issues, though, will be on those ballots, but we'll
Could
be
be.
voting on them in Banks Township.
There could be local issues.
Yeah.
And so now there's a device that we're going to purchase. It's called Ballot on Demand. And so you could imagine in some of the larger townships, sometimes we have 3 or 4 different ballots because we have different school districts. We used to have 2 commission districts. We only have 1 now, right? What's our number? 2. Number 2. We were 1 and 3, now we're number 2. Okay. So any issues within that caused different ballots. So instead of having a table with, 9 different ballots and you're sorting it out and trying to decide who gets what ballot, there's a machine that will print it on ballot stock. It will print that person's specific ballot. They vote it and it goes in the tabulator as normal.
So you're, okay, so you're not handing out ballots, the machine is,
If you're voting in
will.
person.
okay?
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a scary thought.
What's that?
It's, when you go in, it's going to give you what your ballot's going to look like based on your name.
Based on your address.
Well, and your name.
Well, probably address.
You require ID with your name on it, not
Mhm.
just your address, so. it's-
But for example, on May 7th, if someone comes in to vote on May 7th and they have a Crestwell address, it won't even pop up on the laptop because they're not eligible for that vote
All right.
based on their address.
How are you informing the people that this is happening?
Yes, we have to by law inform the people. I had to send out, what did I send out? 750 postcards. You should have all gotten those cute little postcards a few months back that told you that we were having 9-day voting and that the site for that was going to be here in our conference room. Now I'm going to have to send out some type of notice, and it'll probably be the postcards again, informing our voters, and that's everybody, Ellsworth, or our southern people, Elk Rapids.
Torch Lake Township.
Yeah. Informing them that we are going to be making that change to the 9-day early voting.
Do you know how many voters there are in Banks? Total number? Certified?
We are very, very close to the same number between
1,000?
them and us. They have a few more
They have about
voters.
400 more than we do.
That many?
Close
Okay.
to it.
Okay.
So they have
We're-
more than we do, okay.
Yeah.
And they have
Right.
more year-round residents than what we do.
Any other comments or discussion? If not, anything else, Kath?
Mm-mm. No, sir.
All right. We'll move to citizen comments.
We
Very
also,
well.
we also have that
Very well start with
contact
you.
to put it down there too.
I'm sorry?
Constant contact to put it down there.
Yes, I already sent that to Linda.
Yes,
Thank you, Bob.
you're welcome, sir.
Are you going to approve the agenda first, or are you going to do it after?
I'll do it after.
Okay.
So that Barry doesn't have to sit.
Sit down and stand back up again.
Right.
You want me to sit down?
No,
Okay, I can do that.
you're fine.
You're fine.
Good evening. My name is Gary Cole. I live at 602 East Tiger. I'm here tonight because I'd like to be your next probate judge. As you may know, Judge Hayes is retiring. In Michigan, you can't run for judge if you're 70 on the day of the election. It's a rather old rule, but that's what it the way it is, so that's why Judge Hayes is retiring. Plus, he's got over 3 decades on the bench. That's probably long enough. So anyway, we won't have a probate judge that's running for reelection. There will be a new probate judge for Andrew County after November 1st, January 1st. And the reason I think that's kind of important for us this time around is because the district court is going to be also providing probate court. They're still deciding what administration is going to take place there. Do we have our own administration for district and probate, or do we continue to use the administration for district from Traverse City, basically? Obviously, there's some cost sharing that takes place, so there should be a good analysis as to what happens administratively. But as a practical matter, as probate judge, if I'm elected, I will be handling the district court docket. As such, you need somebody that's got experience in both courts. I graduated from law school in 1981. I immediately came back to Hampton County. I've been practicing law here for 43 years. I've been practicing in both courts from day one. I've also been a public defender in both courts. And what that means is that I would represent people that can't afford an attorney, but the court has determined that they need one. I think representing people that come before the court is the most valuable experience a prospective judge could have. If you don't know the people that come in front of you and why they're there and maybe how to help them, you can't do much good. As I said, I started out here in Hampton County. I have 44 decades in both courts. So combining them, I think I can handle that. I'm used to the administration in both courts. And whatever the county commissioners and the court administration of the state decide to do, I can make it happen. So I'd very much like to do this. Speaking briefly about my experience in probate court, there's a lot of things that the probate court handles that can be virtually unlimited jurisdiction, especially when it comes to the state. It can decide contract issues, it can decide real estate issues. Every type of lawsuit that is imaginable can come from the probate court. I handle just about everything that can possibly come before that court. Everything's important, don't get me wrong, but to me, abuse and neglect is one of the major areas in probate court. Here, the probate court has jurisdiction over children that are deemed to be abused and neglected. Again, I've represented parents in that instance. I've represented children in that instance. I've seen what, in 4 decades, what works and what doesn't work. You can't always fix a parent. But if you have the right tools, there's a good chance you can. And the key to that is if you can fix that family, then the next generation won't have that problem. This is a generational problem. People learn how to parent from their parents. And if their parents aren't doing a good job, that just continues on. So if you can break that cycle, it's huge. It helps generations of children. Another thing I've done a lot in probate court, I probably have like 4 minutes, so sorry, is juveniles. Juvenile crime is handled in probate court. I've represented a lot of young people in probate court, and I think I've turned some of them around. It's not that hard, but you can communicate with them. And I have probably 2 or maybe 3 decades of coaching. I believe that's helped me understand young people and how to talk to them. In terms of district court, very briefly, I've handled hundreds, maybe thousands of district court misdemeanors. And again, if you don't know the people that come in front of you, I don't think you can do a good job helping. Sentencing in district court almost always dictates whether or not the person's going to be back. If the sentencing is ineffective, they'll be back. If it's effective, there's a good chance they won't be. I know what works and what doesn't work, and I'd like a chance to do that. So thank you for your time this evening. I really appreciate it, and I would appreciate your consideration of my candidacy for probate judge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Barry.
Thank you very much.
That's why I wanted you to have a chance to go first. All right, we'll cover the agenda item. The only change is, as I discussed, I had the wrong date for the meeting. Is there any other change associated with the agenda?
Am I missing something? Are we not going to deal with the annual meeting?
We did that in the special meeting.
We did. Hang on a minute. That's what went through my head, but did I miss it?
No, you were there.
No, we did the minutes for it, Alan, we approved the minutes.
I know.
What was the question?
He's wondering.
You're talking about the 26th.
The
Yes,
minutes of the
yep.
26th.
He's asking the question, are we going to discuss the annual meeting at this board
Again?
meeting, and we already did that.
Well, either I can't read or it's not in the minutes that I've got, that I received. Hang on. Oh, yeah, there it is. I can't read. All right. Yes, and I do remember us doing that. Good enough. Thank you. I'm good.
All
I'm
right,
good.
so
Thank you.
I will make the motion to accept the agenda as presented with changes. Do I have a second?
A second.
Thank you, Jason. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Thank you.
Excuse me, did you say with changes?
Yes, because I had to change that date.
Oh, okay, okay.
right.
We did have one more for citizen comment.
We'll do.
So
citizen
now we're
comment
going,
now.
okay, now we're going back to
I wanted
citizen
Billy
comment.
to have a chance to.
Yeah, because he didn't
special
And
have to
that's
guest.
stay
fine.
if you don't want to
That's
stay.
wonderful.
Yeah, I think I'll head out.
That's fine. Thank you, Barry.
Mhm.
So we need Mr. Rubing.
Yeah.
Good night.
Night.
Yep. It worked earlier.
It's got a red light.
Yep, battery's done. Here, let's see if this works.
Thank you.
Shut those off.
So the county commissioners got the equalization report at our last meeting, and I just thought I would briefly run through it for you. For value, the tentative taxable value in Antrim County, number one county is Milton Township, 470 million. Number two is Elk Rapids, 368. And number three is Torch Lake Township at $363 million. The county total, overall county total, the equalization value was up 22% over the previous year. But that's somewhat skewed because there's something in the equalization report this year that wasn't there in previous years, and that's the disabled veterans. Normally, their property value is not counted, and this year they counted it. So I asked our equalization director, so if you took that out, where do you think we're at? And she said probably in the 12 to 15% range, which is still high, but thankfully, no one should see their taxes go up by more than 5% because there's a state law that says your taxes can't go up by more than 5% in 1 year. That's the highest amount that it can go up. On this equalization report, it shows your assessor is Amy Genema, I believe, from what I see.
Yep.
Amy.
And I think it's, interesting. The number of, the number of parcels per class. For agriculture in Torch Lake Township, there's 44 parcels. For commercial, there's 56. For residential, there's 2,047. And that leaves you a total parcel number of 2,147. And the agricultural, it looks like, went up the most. No, I take that back. Residential went up the most, agricultural was second, and commercial was third as far as your increases in Torch Lake Township. But if you want to get that information, your assessor sends it to you, she sends it to the county, so I don't have a lot more. Yes, Sharon?
I used to always get that from equalization. Are they not sending them out anymore or what?
Well, it's funny because I thought I had gotten them before too, and I didn't get it, so I emailed and asked for it, and then I got it. But I can forward it to you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Don't think
Can
so.
you tell me the commercial number again, real quick?
We don't need that. No.
Yes, the commercial is 56.
That's what I thought you said. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? All right. Moving on.
Thank you, Jairus.
I'm sorry. We'll move to consent agenda. Anyone wish to pull any of the reports?
I do not.
Hearing none, then we will take that as being by consent. All reports are accepted. Next item, special reports. Planning Commission, Jason.
Yeah, we had a presentation last Tuesday, or last Monday, I think. I think we're meeting on Mondays now.
Yep.
In regards to some storage units, high-tech, fancy storage units that want to be built in our township. We listened to the presentation. We did not vote on it. So that's kind of where we're at with that right now.
All right. Kathy, update on FOIA?
No FOIA to report for this month.
All right. Financial overview, you have the financials in front of you. As always, if you have any questions, you can direct them to me or give me a call and we'll set up an appointment. From a financial standpoint, we had a good year. Our cash position is up from March of 2023 by $237,000. However, that is driven by our not having to pay the final payment on the new pumper, which would have been $351,000. The offset to that is the fact that we had two new deposits for the new ambulance and the tanker of $110,000. So basically, we're flat year over year. From an operations standpoint, costs were lower in the Planning Commission, Zoning Board of Appeals, and the Zoning Office, which were the key drivers for the general fund. Most of the cost centers in the general fund were under budget. We were under budget on the road repairs and have another robust year of road work coming this summer. Excluding the capital costs for equipment, both Kevin Lane, our fire chief, and Mike Bertram, our EMS director, came in under their budget for operating expenses. They did a great job given the fact that their particular areas have been hit pretty hard with inflation. That completes my report. And again, if anybody has any questions, feel free to contact me. We will move on. We have no old business. We have one item for new business. Thank you, Jason. Jason could potentially have financial impact based on our actions. Therefore, I've asked him to recuse himself from this particular vote. As you'll remember, during our budget review, the Dade Park had $15,000 in their capital improvement program. 10,000 or 15,000 was allocated to the irrigation system, and the other 5,000 was for landscaping. So total 20,000 in that capital. There were two parties interested in this. I received only one bid. That's one that you have as part of your package. So if anyone has any questions related to this, I would like to make a motion to approve the contract.
So can we go over it a little bit? Because I'm not, it shows these breakdowns here.
Yeah,
Is this a complete installation and
This
what does
is-
it cover? I mean, just the,
all right. This
That-
is
I don't know
putting
too
in
much
all
about
the
what's going on.
sprinkler heads and all the piping. The electrical work and digging the ditch for the electrical work will be done by an electrician, so we'll have to contract that out. Bob Hawkins said he was willing to dig the ditches because he'll do it for less than what we would charge. And I told him since he's going to do it, I'll volunteer to help him. So that's the way we'll get the power down to the pump.
So what is it actually covering? Is it just,
It's covering everything from the parking lot on the west end all the way down to the beach.
so not on the hill up the top at all then?
No,
Okay.
Nope.
I wasn't sure where the boundary lines.
the
lay.
power's going to have to come from the bathrooms. And so that's why it's going to take some adjustments up there in the panels to get the 220 line down.
Okay.
So this includes the pump, all the piping, the installation, all the heads. I'm waiting for Debbie Stegos to get back to me. She has some ideas about landscaping that she needs to present to the day park. She hasn't done that yet. They have a meeting coming up. So hopefully she'll get there. That will allow us to know more precisely where we want to put the heads.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
The maintenance of that, if people throw their blankets down and all their heads, I don't know how that
It's
works.
underground.
Okay, I don't know. I don't have a sprinkling system.
All right, sprinklers are under the surface, so we would run them in the morning.
They pop up, don't
Yeah,
they?
they pop up, but we're not going to run them at noon. So we don't have to worry about that.
Oops.
Plus the fact we put $5,000 in new trees out there. So this is going to help make sure, otherwise we're going to have people walking around with buckets of water trying to water. And I just think it's crazy. My personal feeling is when people come to that park in July and August, it's brown. And it's not very nice to walk on. I think we should make the park, it's a park, make it green.
Mhm.
So that was our discussion during the budget. And I think everybody was comfortable with that. So right now it's two-phase. We got to get the irrigation people started. And then we've got to get the power and electrical stuff. So I'll be working with Hawkins on that.
So he walked out because he's, Okay.
That's his brother, and he does fill in. And I told him, just to make sure there aren't any slip-ups, he's got to be out. Any other questions?
and is there, and there'll be maintenance required probably
Yeah,
along.
we'll have to have them come blow the lines out in the wintertime and stuff. So that'll be, but that's pretty minor.
How far do you have to run that electric from the?
For the bathrooms
From the
down,
bathroom.
it's probably 400 or 500 feet. So it's going to take an expensive wire.
Where's it gonna plug in?
What do you mean?
Just
The power comes from the circuit board in the bathroom
and it runs,
all the way to the pump, which is down at the shore,
okay,
And we're taking the water out of the lake then.
pulling it out of the lake. So the cost, as you can see, is going to include the filter and all of that.
Okay, that's what I was wondering what that,
Yep.
okay.
Any other questions?
Where is that inlet going to be in the water in relation to the swimming area?
It will be to the south of the swimming area,
South, okay,
right along the property line. So it will be outside of the swim area.
okay. Okay,
and it should be safe there for damage or anything then, and I don't know how that works.
Well, it's going to go out probably, my line goes out about 110 feet. So that because what you want to do is make sure it's in probably 2.5, 3 feet of water. So it's going to go out a ways. Anything else?
Nope.
Sure I answered all your questions?
Yeah, because I wasn't sure the surrounding now, how far it was going back.
Good. All right, so I'll make the motion.
We had a motion, but no second.
Well, she didn't let me finish.
Bob, is there going to be like a pump house down there on the beach?
Yeah, they'll put a covering over it. It's usually.
just keep
he's
thinking
got
of-
one, huh? Well, for
Electricity and
instance-
water bother me, all of a sudden.
I'm sorry?
Electricity and water bother me.
Oh, we've had our system for years. And
Okay,
what they do is they put a heavy plastic covering on it. It looks like a fake rock, and it is a fake rock.
mhm.
So,
You
We'll
telling
make sure it's-
everybody?
I'm sorry?
You just told everybody it's a fake rock?
Yeah, well, they'll figure it out visually. All right, so I will make I will make the motion to approve the contract from Cutting It Close Outdoor LLC for installation of a sprinkler system at the day park for $10,575. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Kathy. It has been moved and seconded to approve the contract from Cutting It Close Outdoor LLC for installation of a sprinkler system at the day park for $10,575. Any further comments on the motion? Hearing none. Kathy, roll call vote, please.
Yep. Alan?
Yes,
Sharon?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Myself, yes.
Just one comment, I guess. I thought about it just now. It won't interfere with a playground area then, right? I mean, it
Well,
won't get
when you say
saturated
it,
all the time.
when you-
Okay, that's it.
That, we're not gonna water the sand. If you don't like how it's done, we have somebody on the board that we can hold their feet to the fire on.
I didn't, yeah, I just,
I was there when we acted out.
okay, so that was all that new,
We go around the gazebo, we went around
Yeah.
the
gotcha.
playground.
I was gonna have Jethro go get you.
All right.
So that motion is approved 4-0.
4-0. All right, first item, under board discussion, are road ends. I have requested a new estimate from our surveyor for the installation of more permanent boundary markers based on, Alan, your comments at our last board meeting. In addition, I have been in discussion with Bert Thompson as to what procedure it would have to follow if we decided not to be involved with some of the road ends. Therefore, at this point, I'm reluctant to engage the surveyor to perform the work requested until we discuss this further and the need to do the work associated with upkeep on the road ends. For the board's information, there are 3 entry points for the bay: the Nature Preserve, Creswell, and Erickson road ends. On Torch Lake, we have the Day Park, 3rd Avenue, 3rd Street, and Kruger. Kruger is designated as an emergency exit for paddle antrim, so I would certainly want to keep that. We want to keep the road end that's at the boat launch. And the third one is the people at 3rd Street would like to undertake some activities to clean that up and make it more accessible for the neighborhood there. I have sent Todd an email to find out what the township's liability would be if we let them do the work. We do not own the property. It's not deeded to us. We only have jurisdictional responsibility, which is a police power ordinance, which was passed, I think, a number of years ago. And so at this particular juncture, those 3 on Torch Lake and the 3 on the bay are all good accesses for people. The other ones on the bay are relatively small. They're overgrown. They haven't been taken care of. And as Alan informed me, based on what the agreement was with the road commission at that transfer, we're not responsible to keep them updated. It's the road commission, and they have no interest in doing that.
we have no authority
Right.
to keep them up.
So at this point, I'm bringing it to the board's attention that I'm not going to have the surveyor spend $18,000 on this endeavor at this particular point, and we can bring it up at the May meeting to discuss further after you add some thoughts to consider it. So open for discussion.
Sounds like a good idea. I do know that you're gonna have some problems with 3rd Street,
In what respect?
with the people that live at the end of it.
Yeah, I have received some communications that is less than appropriate to read in
I'm
public.
sure you have.
So,
It's going to be a hornet's nest down there.
so those are things we have to think about.
Well, I pulled out the plats that were mentioned here and I studied them just to bring up my head in terms of these, the road ends that we have. It's complex. First, it does, I wasn't clear in terms of who's going to approve this. Well, it's the road commission, the 3-member road commission that's going to approve that. And the county commissioners don't have anything to say about that. For example, the road end at the end of Erickson is half ours and half belongs to Milton Township. So we're giving up, I don't know if Milton Township's going to be giving up that road end down there or not. It seems to me that we did have at least one rescue down there off of that spot into the lake. It really gets beat up in high water. So anyways, we'd be giving up half of that one there. We also have,
Isn't that kind of a cliff there?
say it again?
Is that a kind of a cliff there?
Yeah, it's steep.
Yeah.
It's always been steep.
Not Erickson. Erickson has a boat ramp. I mean,
What am I thinking of? Where's,
you're thinking of the one off Michigan Avenue where that roundabout is.
no,
That's very steep.
no, I'm thinking of, this is Cottrell's subdivision.
No,
and-
Creswell is fine.
This is,
Actually,
Bargey's Market's at Erickson, am I wrong?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
actually down there at that site, there's a post that says it's Torch Lake Township Fire Station, right?
We just beat them to putting the sign out.
Well,
Half there.
well, that's fine. It's still, we
Is that
put a
steep?
sign up there to say, hey, our fire trucks can come down here and pull the water out. So that's a good ramp. We did work on Creswell back in 21, my first year with Bill. And that year we had some of the worst storms in the summertime and it totally wiped out the work that we put into it. And I said, we're not spending more money down there. So those are wide enough to keep. The other ones are relatively narrow. So go ahead, Alan. But Erickson and Creswell and the Nature Preserve are all good spots for people if they want to get down to the bay.
and you were saying you would retain the preserve road, the one, the nature preserve,
Oh, absolutely.
and we would retain our jurisdiction of that, you'd maintain.
Exactly.
And, okay, what was the other one I had questions on? The one that really totally confuses me is, this is in your neighborhood, the little lots there that were developed back in the 20s. As I look, I don't know how the easement at the end of Bay Colony ever occurred, because it didn't come off of this plat, unless I'm reading this plat wrong. They changed the plat when they built that road, and part of Bay Colony Road actually went into my property. I didn't discover it for a while until I started playing with the maps. And I was being taxed on it, for whoever had it was being taxed on that. But the assessor just took it off the tax roll. But that's a question of whether or not it's a real access there or not and how it occurred. I have no idea. The only person that can change a plat is a judge. So is there a judgment somewhere in the past? This is a long time ago, 26, I think it was, yeah. That whether there was another drawing done and the plat was altered and so forth. And part of this, of course, has been vacated. The end of the airport end was vacated. So,
Do we need to get a new plat of registered deeds for that, Alan, that spot? They're the keeper of all the updated plats.
I'm surprised we don't have it here. There might be one out there. There might be one that they
We
did,
can check
but
at
we
the
don't have a
registered
record of
deeds
it.
office because they're the ones that maintain the updated plats.
Well, when you put a subdivision like this together and you start building it, and you put in the roads, you survey it all out, and,
Well, things change. Those plats change along the way, and if we don't have one,
Well, what changed was the actual direction of the road. There was a wetland, right? The wetland that's right there as you turn to the south. And that altered everything in there, according to, they show a part of it. And there are, Bob, on Lake Michigan, they have, at least on here, they're showing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 accesses to Lake Michigan that are roughly, I would guess they're 40 feet wide, roughly, that go to Lake Michigan that have never been developed. There's also a main road in there that went north-south that was never developed behind the houses there on going to the north. So
who has jurisdiction? The county?
county, they were dedicated to the county, and the county has recognized those as accesses to the water. But they've never done anything with it. I don't know if they've done anything, excuse me, with any of them.
They have not, and they don't have plans to do so.
Right. And again, so people were concerned that we weren't doing anything. Well, we didn't have the jurisdiction to do it. In addition to that, when they gave us this resolution of theirs in 2004, on all these road ends they wanted us to have jurisdiction over, we were talking 40, 50 feet. I mean, the water's there and 50 feet out here, that was our jurisdiction. On Lake Michigan in high water, that whole 40 or 50 feet disappears. And I don't know what it does on Lake Michigan, the same issue. The one on 3rd Street will be a problem, and just because that's a high erosion area. The water comes down that hill, and the one people on what's that, Johnson, like it was, they put in drains. They have some drains by their garage to catch that water, to shoot it out to the lake, and that was an agreement that they did with us. So I don't know where that'll end up and what our liability will be on that, but Heidi Schaefer used to live on that road looking at the erosion that happened. She wanted all those trees that were growing on the shore to stay there because that kept that bank up. So we got a 4 or 5 foot drop there.
It's more
Anyways,
than-
to the water.
I'll bet you it's 6 or 8 feet.
Is that so?
Yeah, it's,
So there's but whether the county road commission will take that back, I don't know. And then if they don't, tell them, Bob, what happens.
well, my discussions with Bert, there's nothing in the agreement where it can be reversed. In other words, a process for it to be reversed. So we as a township could say, hey, we're not going to do the jurisdiction. We would have to probably put another resolution together, which would keep certain ones of them and exclude the others as defined by that document. The road commission would reject it, and it would go to the DNR then as the last rights, if they wanted them or not. So that's the process. It's probably a year's worth of time that it would take to go through all that process.
More like 2.
And so it was just my opinion. I needed to bring that back to the board. And I'd prefer not to spend the 18,000 at least at this point. So it's not for board action. It's just a discussion. And at the May meeting, I'll have more information. If there's something I can bring to the board that they can take action on, I'll bring it at that time.
And they're okay with holding off on that contract that we looked at?
I haven't really, I
not
told
signed
them
it.
I would get back to them.
Okay.
So there's no start date on it.
I talked to Bert Thompson today with regard to some of these easements that were in Eden Shores. And what caught me about Eden Shores was that they don't have a 66-foot wide roadway. They have a 50-foot wide roadway. So I said, well, is the county taking care of that? And they do. They snowplow it, he said. And there are some strips to the water in both of those subdivisions, Eden Shores 1, Eden Shores 2. And so the county is accepting that. I said, well, why haven't you accepted all of them? For example, there's a Michigan Trail North that they never accepted. Why did you not accept that? He says, well, we've got to certify it. So I don't know what certification means, but Indeed, I'm sure it means 66-foot wide right away for the county road, or something like that. And you don't, it depends on the amount of traffic and where you're going.
There used to be school buses go down there
You got
years
school
ago.
buses, you got fire trucks, you've got ambulances, you have, all of that's got to be somewhat clear. And I'm sure that's all part of the certification.
And I don't know if school buses go down there anymore, but they used to in the past. That's
Yeah.
why they kept it open.
Yeah.
Well,
And we had, you guys may have even gone down some of those roads to make sure you can get your trucks in and out. I always get concerned about some of the driveways that people have. They have this curvy driveway, which so they have all trees when they look back down their driveway. But it's difficult for the big truck to get down there, although our guys will get there. Don't worry about it. Our guys will get there.
Alan, just to verify, the Eden Shores, Bert told me that they wouldn't take any of them back. Did Bert tell you that in fact he already has the jurisdiction on those? Because that's part of the agreement from 2004.
He didn't say that, but is that so? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, those
So
are in there.
They don't want
and
anything to do with them.
the road commission wants nothing to do with them. So at this point, that's why this is going to be a continuing discussion to see what the process is. I've reached out to Todd to see if there's something out there that he remembers from the past as to what was required. So it's work in progress then.
Well, I know the road commission has been concerned about making sure people have access to the water. And really, it's in their ballpark to begin to look at this themselves, because they have the jurisdiction and the right to do things there that we really don't have. And they've got issues of parking at the road ends where people park, hours of use, landscaping and drainage and things like that to deal with. And it's a major job. Those that we want to hold on to, we use heavily. So we've taken care of them. The park's an example of that. The preserve is another example of that. The end of Crestwell is another example of that because of safety on Lake Michigan. I know of at least 3 saves that we did on Lake Michigan in my time as supervisor that I'm almost sure you guys went in off of Crestwell. No, you went off the preserve. You went off the preserve road on those and pulled people out of the water.
Yeah.
And so that's a pretty critical point. Maybe there's even more, I don't know in my time, but it's not, maybe there's a joint thing too. Maybe the county road commission and us together can talk about this.
Well,
That's a possibility.
Bert says they don't want any interest.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah.
Just
I'll
don't.
reiterate that comment. They don't want to do it. If we pass it off to them, they're going to the DNR.
The county road commission in some counties is elected. This one is not. They're appointed by the county commissioners and they're totally autonomous from what they want to do. So,
All right, so we'll move on to the next one. I just wanted to let the board know what was going on. Barton's Park update. Sarah and I met with Anna Hill. We've defined what the 96 spots are. They are well marked now, and there will be no camping on the big grounds there between the administration building and the playground. So that will resolve them putting those temporary fire pits in there. Those have all been removed. And I think, as far as I'm concerned, as long as they don't let anybody camp out there, we'll have Bob Hawkins take a trip now and then, and we've got a lot of citizens that walk out there. So hopefully they'll keep their eyes open, and if they encroach on it, we'll be back at them.
you know, the one area that I was concerned about is that the park people don't inform their campers that they can't walk down the beach and park themselves in front of somebody's property and begin to do their beach activities. That's illegal. They can walk through, they have an easement through there, but they don't have a right to stop and do their park stuff there. And that was a complaint on some of the people to the north that this was happening. Also, they came back into your place for a
Yeah,
while.
I think they put signs up and they have notices around in that
That's
a
clear now?
warning. Mhm.
Okay,
Since that all came about last year, so.
okay.
All right, the last item is this thing about engine brakes. I heard them today a lot. You probably hear them all the time. I asked Ellen to look into it. We got a bunch of information from Todd. Ellen, what, quickly kind of get to the
Well, we
bottom
can't
line.
enforce it. The county will not enforce our ordinances, our police power ordinances. And this would be a great ordinance for the county that going into, from the normal speed limit of 55 or above down to 45 or so, whatever is required as they go through Torch Lake Township or other places in the county that slow the speed down. I don't know where all those would be. But all of the people that live on those tracks have all that noise. And I don't know if could be a county regulation or not.
East Jordan has signs that says that there's no engine braking. Now, whether or not they did it as a noise ordinance, potentially, I don't know what they do, but I know that's one township, and it's where it changes from 55 to 35.
Well, they've got a police car, I think.
Well, they may have more than one.
Yeah.
I passed
Yeah,
a few,
that's the
but-
issue. If you can enforce it, Bel Air the same way, they can enforce it.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have no
Central
way
Lake,
to, we
yeah.
have no way to enforce it. So anyway, I think it would be nice. I don't think we have a solution for it. And at this point, I'll get back to the folks and let them know that based on our research, we don't have any way to enforce it. Not at this point, anyway.
No, not at this point.
All right, very good. Well, that then concludes the board discussion points. There is nothing on information only. Do we have any citizen comments?
Perhaps? No, we don't.
No citizen comments, then board? We'll start, Ellen, I'll start.
I have
with you.
none.
Jason?
The only thing isn't our planning commission meeting on Monday? It says Tuesday in here.
All right. Monday.
April 21st.
Thank you.
Other than that, I'm good.
Kathy?
No, I had my time, thank you.
All right. Sharon?
I'm good.
Wow. My only comment is that, board, for those interested in running again, you can get your petition in by April 23rd. And for the citizens that are interested in running, they have the same time frame,
23rd by 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock. So we'll see.
Say that again, Sharon.
The 23rd
Is
by 4
Monday.
o'clock.
That's Monday?
Tuesday. I think it's
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Okay.
At 4 o'clock, you need your petitions in if you're going to run.
4:01.
So,
I won't be here for a notary, no. I will not be here for a notary. I'll be here Friday. But you can get a notary anywhere. The banks and notaries are everywhere.
so we'll see what the ballots will look like after the 23rd. With that, I will make the motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you very much for all you who came.